Pontius, and I'm going to be talking to you about mental disorders and homicide rates. It has been stated that 10% of all homicides are committed by adults who have been diagnosed with an untreated mental disorder. Approximately 26.2% of all American adults have been diagnosed with a mental disorder ranging from depression, dissociative identity disorder, and schizophrenia. These disorders are characterized by extreme impairment of a person's ability to think clearly and rationally, respond emotionally, communicate effectively, understand reality, and behave appropriately. It can vary from forgetfulness to visual and auditory hallucinations. Psychotic depression occurs when an individual is not only severely depressed but has some form of mental disorder as well. These psychotic symptoms may be hallucinations or delusions. Combined with depression, these hallucinations or delusions may cause breakdowns in which the individual will have trouble with or may not be able to eat or sleep or function normal in society. Similar to minor depression, psychotic depression may occur in various episodes. In 2002, mentally ill and deeply depressed Andrea Yates stood for trial for the murder of her 5 children. In summer of 2001, Yates filled her bathtub and one by one drowned her children. Yates had believed that she was not being a good mother to her children, and to save them from Satan, she had to kill them. Yates suffered from delusions and severe depression, with several suicide attempts. Her husband, supporting his wife, claimed that if she had received treatment for her mental disorder, his children would still be alive today. Dissociative identity disorder, or more commonly known as multiple personality disorder, occurs when an individual has 2 or more distinct personalities or identities which completely dictate the actions of an individual depending on the identity present at the time. On average, people with this disorder have 10 different personalities. However, cases have been cited where individuals may have more than 100 different personalities. These personalities are completely unique and different from each other. For example, one identity may require glasses or have a distinct allergy that the other identities do not have or need. When the personalities are present, the individual may be unaware of anything occurring outside of their original identity. In 2005, Dwayne Wilson, who suffers from dissociative identity disorder, has no recollection of Kiko, his violent personality, stabbing and killing his 35-year-old sister, as well as 11-year-old twins, niece and nephew. He also stabbed his 9-year-old nephew, Paris, multiple times, leaving him severely injured. Once regaining consciousness, Paris had called 911. According to Assistant Prosecutor Deborah Simon, Kiko thought he was stabbing his father, who had been abusive towards him his entire childhood. Schizophrenia is a chronic, severe, and disabling mental disorder which is characterized by deficits in the thought processes, perceptions, and emotional responsiveness. This incapacitating disorder affects approximately 2.4 million adults in the United States. Symptoms such as delusions, hallucinations, paranoia, and lack of motivation prevent individuals suffering from this disorder to form relationships or even hold jobs. There are 4 subgroups of schizophrenia. These include disorganized, undifferentiated, residual, and paranoid. Disorganized type schizophrenia is characterized by behavior and speech that are muddled and hard to understand. In many cases, this type of schizophrenia seems to be in their own world the majority of the time. For example, they may laugh at nothing or make inappropriate statements or sounds or seem distracted by their own thoughts in most things. Residual type schizophrenia is characterized by short-term episodes of schizophrenic symptoms. These symptoms can last for a short time or may not appear again for a couple of years. Paranoid type schizophrenia is the most familiar to the general population. Characteristics include delusions and hallucinations. An afflicted person may believe that they are being harassed, stalked, or may even think that people can read their thoughts or mind. As the name states, these individuals are paranoid. These paranoid feelings may lead to aggressiveness and violent behaviors. Undifferentiated type schizophrenia has symptoms which can be found in all the other types of schizophrenia. This individual may show symptoms from any of the other types such as paranoid delusions and irrational statements. In 1989, Andrew Goldstein, a diagnosed schizophrenic, was admitted into a psychiatric hospital after showing violent behaviors toward his own mother. Although Andrew had showed symptoms of schizophrenia, including delusions and violent behaviors, he was released from the hospital and admitted into a group home. By 1996, he lived on his own in New York, was frequently brought to the emergency room as he would run around frantically screaming that he needed help. In November of 1999, Andrew Goldstein had admitted himself into a hospital in Harlem, but despite stating that he had severe schizophrenia and nurses noting that he seemed psychotic and delusional, he was released from the hospital in less than 1 month. A few weeks after his release, Goldstein pushed Kendra Webdale under a train, killing her. He was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. The public was outraged when they learned of Goldstein's long-term mental condition and the lax release protocols of the hospitals. As a result, Kendra's Law was created, permitting courts to force mentally ill patients who live in the community to be medicated. The news and media often illustrate individuals with mental disorders to be unpredictable and dangerous people. These accusations have made mental illness and their correlations to violent crimes like homicide a hot topic. According to Aronin, Hakula, and Tehonen in 1996, males with schizophrenia are 25 times more likely to commit homicide than the general male population. Tanay, a forensic psychiatrist, studied 53 inmates who committed homicide. After a 10-year study, he suggests that 70% of these homicide offenders being showed signs of dissociative identity disorder. Symptoms of mental disorders in general include problems with logical thinking and memory, a sense of unrealistic, exaggerated beliefs of personal power, fear of suspicions of others, and dramatic mood swings. In some cases, symptoms can be more extreme, including paranoia, hallucinations, delusions, and irrational decision-making. In general, individuals with mental disorders are apt to be more aggressive and violent. These behaviors make individuals suffering from a mental disorder to be more prone to homicidal tendencies. Without proper treatment, these symptoms may advance into more complex psychotic episodes. During an episode, irrational beliefs and behaviors involving paranoid delusions and hallucinations may occur. In other words, the individual may lose touch with reality and become more confused as to what is real or not. The longer this disorder goes untreated, the more intense the episode may become and the more often these episodes may occur.